Greetings everyone. I'm doing this video. Actually, I did promise that I would be start touching on the commandments, and the idea is just to help one another, because even though I feel like some people read the commandments probably not sticking, not understand, so I'm trying to find a way where can I help some of you to really understand the word of Elohim, to really understand and follow the commandments the way you're supposed to. Okay, so as for me, what we do, we always read the commandments, during prayer, to remember, like it says in Deuteronomy chapter 6, it says to teach it to your children, and also remember it when you're walking by the way, when you're sitting down, even when you're at work, trying to remember the commandments. When you sit down to eat, when you're home, rehearse the commandments so you can know it, understand it, and follow it. That's the only way you can actually live a righteously, a set apart life, like you remember it. Because when you read a lot, when you say it to yourself, you kind of remember it. And also, don't forget to put your fringes in a ribbon of blue, as it states in Numbers chapter 15. But what I'm doing again, we know the 10 Commandments, and understand that the 10 Commandments is very broad in Exodus chapter 20. So that's why the Torah starts from Genesis to Deuteronomy. And Genesis to Deuteronomy, it really gives you, from the point on after Exodus 20, it gives you details of the commandments, how you're supposed to keep it, follow it. If you just read Exodus 20, the 10 Commandments, which you need to know, but it doesn't give you each details, how you're supposed to follow what it is and how you're supposed to know. For instance, if I was to go, you shall not have no other gods before me. And verse 4 says, you shall not make unto yourself any graven image. A lot of people, it's just probably go right over your head. What is a graven image? It is the likeness of anything above, or that is on the earth beneath, in the water beneath. And like I say, when it comes to the Bible, we can understand anything that is speaking, but anything that the word you read from the Bible, it's always so difficult for us to grasp, to understand. We really have to go in dummy terms in order for us to get it. And if the Yahuwah don't open your eyes, you're not going to be able to see or understand what you're seeing or reading. And what I mean by that, although I'm going to read it, but I would just want to give you an example. What is a graven image? And that's why I say, it says my people perish by the lack of knowledge. And people think in graven images, like you find some Christians who are still worshiping the image of Jesus. That's a graven image. We're not supposed to worship any graven image. And like I said, if you just read this, it probably goes right over your head. But when you go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, it tells you the likeness of a man or a woman. You're not supposed to have a picture or a statue of a man or a woman for you to worship. So that's what made Jesus, a picture of Jesus, a graven image. He didn't give you a picture to worship, you just know you worship the Elohim above. Or should you be worshiping the Messiah? The Messiah tells you himself, you don't pray to me, but you pray to the Father, but in his name. So that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start going through the commandments in details to help you out on your daily lives. Because daily, we need to remember these things and practice it. Because our Father is at hand. Remember, His comings as a thief in the night. Just as at the day of Noah. He's going to come to you suddenly. And if you're not ready, you're not living a set-apart life. Your life with Him. And, you're going to be in big poop. So it's just to help you again, and I hope you share this channel with everyone that you can, and talk about Yahuwah. If you have the wisdom, you can teach somebody, teach it. And don't listen to people that's telling you if you're a woman you cannot teach. Remember, the people that used to teach, the people that, it says in Deuteronomy chapter 4 or 6, it says parents. And parents consist of a mother and a father. Who do you teach your children? Which means when dad goes to work in the field, mom is home, guess who's teaching the word to your children? The mother. And even in Proverbs, it says, listen to the commandments of your mother. So mother. So if you're a woman, yes, you can teach. That doesn't mean, what I'm saying. At the same time, when you're married, you need to give your husband that level of respect, because he is the head of the household. Because Keep being the head of the household and respect your husband doesn't make you any lesser than him. That doesn't mean you cannot teach the word, because we both are teachers. And if you know something, that doesn't mean you cannot share it with somebody else. You just keep your mouth shut, like you read and the New Testament is a bunch of shenanigans that we're meant to be silent in church. That's another subject, but let me go on and continue with the message, the teaching actually, that share the channel, and if you're able, you grasp, you get the understanding. Also, you need to share the word. You are the light of the world. We have to speak the word to those that are unlearned, to those that are ignorant to the truth. So we're supposed to share this word. So before I go, I'm going to pray. Father, I thank you for this beautiful day. This is the day that you have made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. I pray that anyone who's hearing this word, that you may give them wisdom and understanding to see the secret of the Torah. I pray that your name be glorified in any word and everything that's going to be said, that the people understand and grasp and live according to the Torah as you want us to. And I pray that they share the word with everyone, that they know and walk righteously before you. So I pray to you in the name of your son Yahushua. Hallelujah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start Exodus 20, because this is where we find the 10 commandments. I'm not going to go below. I'm just going to go from 1 to 17, and then I'm going to go to Exodus chapter 21, and if I have sometimes maybe 22, but I'm just going to do 21. I'm probably going to do 2 chapters at a time just to help you out, so you can understand how to follow, how to keep the commandments and what you need to do, and the details, not just like I said, the chapter 20 is kind of vague. It's kind of vague. It just tells you to do this, but it doesn't give you the details. The details is that you have to be further chapters. That's why every day in your prayer time, whether you pray in the morning, at noon, it's always good to read a chapter of the Torah daily. Okay, so I'm gonna take those chapters that you need to follow daily, so it can help you. So let's start in verse 1. And God says, Elohim said, or Yahuwah said, spoke unto all these words, saying, I am the Lord your God. I'm not reading from the Sefer, so it's going to sound different. Verse 2, I am the Yahuwah Elohim, another word, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. You shall not, that's the first commandment, you shall not have no other gods before me. Commandment 2, you shall not make to yourselves any graven image, any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath. Verse 5, you shall not bow down to them nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah Elohim, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children of the third and fourth generations of those that hate me, but showing mercy for thousands to those that love me and keep what my commandments. Verse 7, you shall not take my name in vain, the Lord of Yahuwah Elohim in vain, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. That's the third one. The fourth one, it says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but on the seventh day it is the Shabbat of Yahuwah Elohim. In it you shall do no work, you, nor your sons, nor your daughter, nor your male servants, nor your female servants, nor the cattle, nor the stranger that is within your gates. For verse 11, for in 6 days Yahuwah made the heavens and the earth, the sea and all that is therein, and he rested on the seventh day. Therefore Yahuwah blessed the Shabbat, and he hallowed it. Verse 12, that's fourth. Verse 12 is the fifth commandment. Honor your father and your mother, that your day may be long upon the land which Yahuwah Elohim given you. And verse 13, you shall not murder. Verse 14, you shall not commit adultery. Verse 15, you shall not steal. Verse 16, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Verse 17, you shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servants, nor his maid servants, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is in your neighbor. So this is the 10 commandments. Now, if you read this, it's a lot of things, like I said, we don't really grasp until we see the details. So we're going to go to the details from chapter to chapter. Now we're going to jump into Genesis chapter 21. So let's start by verse 1. And this says, now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. That he's talking to Moshe. He said, now these are the judgment which thou shalt set before them. Verse 2, it says, if thou buy a Hebrew servant, 6 years shall he serve you, and the 7th he shall go out for nothing. So, certain area, certain, depending on the continent that you are, especially in America, you cannot no longer buy people, or for slaves or what have you. Okay, and don't easily find anybody in the U.S. who have a maid unless you're a millionaire, because things is hard, because it's a lot of money. It costs a lot to have a maid. Now, if you were in that condition, you had a maid, a person to serve you, that person can serve you for 6 years, and 7th you release them unless they want to still stay with you. Okay, and verse 3 says, if he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself, and if he were married, then his wife shall go with him, and if he has children as well. Verse 4, if his master have given him a wife, and he have borne him sons and daughters, the wife and her children shall remain with her masters, and he shall go out by himself. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free. Okay, so they allowed to stay with you. And the master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door and the doorposts, and the master shall bore his ears through within all, and it shall serve him forever. So that's how it was back in the day of old. Okay, but like I say, in modern day, you don't find that anymore. It doesn't happen. But in case if it happens, this is the law you will have to follow. And verse 7, it says, and if a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant, and shall not go out free. So that, like I say, these things do not happen in the modern day. But if it were, because you cannot sell your children, remember, we're scattered, we're no longer in our land, so therefore you have to follow the law of the land that you are, and whoever is above you, so you have to follow that law. That doesn't mean you have to break the commandments, though. I'm not saying for you to break the commandments, but I'm saying that you don't find anyone selling their daughter or sons, what have you, to be a maid servant anymore. That's just what I'm saying. Okay, and verse 8, I'm just going to skip some of them. In verse 8, it says, if she please not the master, who have betrothed her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed. To sell her unto a strange nation, he shall have no power, seeing ye have dealt deceitfully with her. Okay, and let me see, what do I need? And if he have betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of a daughter. And verse 10, it said, if he takes him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty in marriage shall he not diminish. Remember, you're still taking care of that young lady. Verse 11, and if he do not these 3 things unto her, then he shall let her go out free. All right, and verse 12, and it says, he that smite a man so that he died shall be surely be put to death. Okay, now this is the common whether we live in the modern day, and like I said, remember the children of Yashar'el, mainly the tribe of Yahudah or Judah, were the one who scattered to the 4 corners of the earth. That doesn't say that the other tribes were not out, but it's mainly the tribe of Yahudah, and most of them remain back in Africa where they were. Now, for you, or if you're an Israelite or Yashar'el who lives the same, I'm going to use the United States, is easier to live in the United States. Remember, the people in the United States, they are not following the commandments, okay? And they have their own judicial system that they follow. Now, if they were following the Torah, as it states, if a man killed another man so that he died, that person should be put to death. Now, like I said, the Torah, you have to have the understanding. I'm going to read below so you get an understanding. Now, as you can see what's going on in the United States, somebody can go ahead and plan this murder, buy the guns, fix everything and kill, and yet, they put that person in jail. They have attorneys to represent them, all this nonsense going on, and calling jury, people who have no knowledge of the judicial system, and now they're allowing that person to do the justice, which they don't know the system of the judicial. And according to the Torah, is the people who witness who will be coming forward, and the judge is the one who's supposed to make the decision. As long as you have 3 witnesses, those 3 witnesses are the key. You need to know, okay, did you see so and so? Did you see so and so? Yes, yes. Another witness will be the people that did that person. I remember the theater massacre guy. There's some people that didn't die. They're a key witness. They saw him. He shot at most of the people. They died, and those that's still alive, they were supposed to be the one witnessing, questioning, and then the judge will execute him right there and then. Like I said, judicial system, people now, you find most of the world, they do not follow the Torah accordingly. So if you were the children of Yahshua, not I'm gonna say few, but many of us are living under the other nations, not under, but amongst the other nations. Therefore, you're not in your land. They're not following the Torah. If you know the Torah, so you cannot take matters to your hand because you're not in your land right now. Okay, so whatever the judicial system agrees upon, whether if you're a victim or not, you just gotta follow it. Okay, you just gotta follow it. But that doesn't mean that person, if he kills someone, he's not gonna pay for his sins. Of course he will. Even though the judicial system choose not to execute that person, which is his life for life, like it says in the Torah. If they don't do that, they do their own. Whether that person go out free, he didn't pay for his crime, he's gonna pay for it after when he died. Just know for sure it's gonna happen. But let me continue. It says verse 12, if he that smite a man so that he died shall be surely be put to death. Now verse 13 is saying, if a man lie not in wait, meaning I did not plan on killing someone, but God deliver him unto his hands, then I will appoint thee a place whither he shall flee. Meaning, if I'm going to use the same example as it says in the Bible, let's say a group of people working, and they're using axe and they cutting trees, and while throwing the axe, the tip fly and they hit someone in the head, and that person fall down and died. That means that person was not awaiting or planning to kill that person. It's an accident. Now this is the only thing, the time you don't shed the blood. But if the avenger of blood comes, and catch that person and kill that person, so be it. But in that case, when that accident happened, that person who happened to kill that person accidentally, Yahuwah is saying that, okay, once you get in your land, you need to put a city separately for these type of people, and this is where you send them until the judge of that city will judge them. But you cannot kill them because they didn't do it on purpose. This is all explaining, and you can find that as well in Numbers chapter 35. And I'm going to read verse 9. It says, then Yahuwah said unto Moshe, speak unto the children of Yashar'el, say to them, when you cross the Jordan and to Canaan, he says, select one town to be the city of refuge, to which a person who has killed someone accidentally may flee. They will be places of refuge for the avenger, so that anyone accused of murderer may not die before they stand in trial before the assembly. Okay? So that's why the city of refuge is for the people who kill somebody by accident. But if you presumptuously, let's go to verse 14, it says, but if a man come presumptuously upon his neighbor to slay him with guile, which means with hatred, you hate that person, you plan, you kill that person, thou shalt take him from my altar, that he may die, which means that person, regardless whether he's rich or not, if he killed a person presumptuously, if he knows that person, I hate that person, he hates that person, and killed that person, it's blood for blood, life for life. That the only way the earth gonna be cleansed. And it says, that's why I say the commandments still stand. But like I say, most of us who are scattered to the four corners of the earth, the commandments doesn't even exist anymore. And the judicial system, they don't follow it, but they have their own judicial system. So what can you do? But like I said, I'm not saying for you that you still keep the commandments. You know, which means if somebody or yourself happen to kill somebody accidentally, you know, you in God's hands, because you know you didn't do it on purpose, but is what the judicial system, that system where you at, and knowing, you know, what happened to any Israelites or black men who or women who have, even with it, if they kill somebody accidentally, they don't get the same, you know, judgment. But I'm not going to get into that. But it's just to know that you have to understand that the world we're living in, it's just as it's there now. They don't keep the commandments, laws, and statutes. But like I say, that doesn't mean you, certain laws, they out of your hand. There's nothing you can do about it. But the other ones you must keep. That, okay? Now, verse 15, it says, and he that smiteth his father or his mother shall be surely put to death. So that's for children, or, you know, you hit your mom. And I've seen some children beating their mother up, you know, and their father. And the law is saying any children who doesn't respect, and again, that's from the 10 Commandments, you shall honor your parents. You know, if a child is disrespecting their parents, is fighting, you know, is a drunk, he's not listening, and the Bible is saying you should put that child to death. But like I said, remember, you're in the land of the captivities. These laws are not followed. So, with discretions, listen to what I'm saying. You don't go and kill your children because the children hit you. Well, you have the right, if that child is old enough, you can kick that child out if you don't want to keep that child. But do not go and kill anyone. Say that, you know, I said the Bible, you know, said. Use discretion. You're in the land of captivity. There's a lot of things you cannot do. You follow the judicial system in accordance with how they judge matters. Can you kick the child out? Absolutely. You know, but as far as taking the life, you know, they don't understand the commandments. They're not gonna, you know, apply it to you. So use your own discretions, use your mind, you know, be intelligent about it. You know, if you, and another thing, you know, when you raise your child in the commandments, they will know how to react with their parents. They know it's a sin for a child not to disrespect their parents. Now, if you're grown, let's say you're 16, and there are so many scenarios that I can use, you know, and you know, as a child, and you probably said, okay, I found out the truth, and, you know, my mom is not in the truth, what have you. And if I read the Torah, what have you, my parents, you know, beat me up. And, you know, you're in a situation that you want to keep the Torah, you want to live righteously before God, but your parents are not allowing you. So if you're old enough, you have the right to move out. Okay, but not fight back. And also, if, like I say, as a parent, you know, use discretions. But, you know, at the same time, you know, you have to respect your parents. If your parents are telling you to break the commandments, you know, you do not break the commandments. You know, like if you have to follow your Shabbat, if you have certain things you have to do. So, like I say, use discretion. You know, pray to Yahuwah. If you're old enough, you may leave your parents' house so you can keep the commandments of Yahuwah. And if you're a parent, you have a child that's very disrespectful to you, that does not listen to you, or who's fighting you, like, you know, fighting, fisting, punching, you and your right to kick that child out, because the child is not keeping the Torah, is not, you know, is disrespecting you, doesn't listen to what you have to say. That's if you're in the Torah. Now, don't go and do things, say this is what you heard, but you're not keeping the Torah. You can't be a hypocrite, because you don't want that raised that child to be rude. You know, you don't want that raised your child to be the way they are. So, again, discretions. Alright? Pray Yahuwah on the matter so he can help you. Okay? Use understanding, wisdom before you react. Okay? You're in the land of captivity. A lot of things you cannot do or apply. And verse 15. And it says, and he that smiteth his father or his mother shall be surely put to death. Verse 16. It says, and he that steal a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall be surely put to death. I mean, you cannot sell somebody, because it's happening right now. Anybody you caught taking sex slaves, that's what they call them, pick them up and sell them for money. You should be put to death. Anybody who get caught or they buy that person to become slaves. Just what happened to Joseph, you know. They were sold for money, you know, to become a slave. If you're caught doing that, you're supposed to be put to death. Remember, I'm reading the commandments, okay? I am not telling you, but I'm telling you what the commandments is saying. All right? And verse 17. And he that curses his father, oh man, I missed it. Okay, I kind of skipped verse 16 and 17. Oh, no, it's repeating. And then he that curses his mother or his father shall surely be put to death. And it's also in verse 15, smite his mother. Okay, the smite and curse is the same time. We talked about that already. And verse 18, and if a man strive together, and one smite another with a stone, or with his fist, and he die not, but keepeth his bed. Verse 19, if he rises again, and walk abroad upon his staff, then shall he that smote him be quit. Okay, only he shall pay for the loss of his time, and shall cause him to be throughout healed. In other words, if you punch somebody in the face, he lost his tooth. Okay, if he got up and walked away, you both are fighting, you know, the one that fell or lost his tooth, you pay for to repair his tooth. If you have to go to the doctor, you pay for his doctors. That's all it's explaining here, so he can be healed. Verse 20, and if a man smite his servant or his maid with a rod, and he died under his hand, he shall be surely be punished. So like I said, we don't have that anymore, and mostly, you know, find people with, well, you might, depends where you go, because I've heard some horror story of people coming from Africa who've been kidnapped and sold as slaves. They being made, they be beaten up and raped, what have you. But again, these people don't keep the commandments, so who's gonna punish that person who does such vile crime? You know, so certain things, you know, it's just gonna just go over the head. But if it was we were in our own land following the Torah, this is how it would go down if somebody did such things. Okay, in verse 21, it says, notwithstanding, if he continue a day or two, he shall not be punished for he is his money. So which means that the person is not dead, what have you, and he continued to do his work, he doesn't get punished for it because he bought them with money. Verse 22, it says, and if a man strive and hurt a woman with child, so that the fruit depart from her, and yet no mischief follow, he shall be surely punished, according to as the woman's husband will lay upon him, and he shall pay that judgment. Now, meaning, if two men are fighting, during the fight, let's see the woman trying to separate, what have you, anything that happened, whoever hit that woman, and that woman lost the child or have a miscarriage, the child's dead. If, like I said, it was just a fight, she's trying to separate, I'm just giving you an example. In that way, he wasn't a weight to kill the child on purpose, you know, so that he's still going to have to pay. He'll get punished according to what the judges or the priests order him to pay, or according to what the husband wants for that dead child or that dead fetus. Okay, so when he goes to judgment, so whatever the husband required, that's what they will give. He will pay, you know, and the judge will determine, you know, the judgment follow for that. Now, if verse 23, if any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life. Let's say the man purposely or the woman purposely killed, hit that woman and caused her to lose the fruit of her womb, to lose the baby. Now, that person who did that must die. Okay, that's the law. And again, you're in the land of captivity, so you still need to understand this law, how it goes. Okay, so the land of captivities, and you've seen, I remember one policeman who saw this lady very pregnant, he kept punching that lady in the stomach. Now that's mischief. He did it on purpose, because it's not like he threw his hand, it happened to hit her, but he was literally hitting that woman in the belly. She lost her baby. So it would be life for life, so that police officer would deserve to die. or whether it's not a police officer or not, whether if it's a person or if they say the husband, as long as you cause a pregnant woman her fruit to depart, whether a husband, sister, or a stranger who start fighting with a pregnant woman and purposely, kill that child, it's life for life. But again, follow the law of your land. Okay? Certain laws in the Torah we have no control of, but there's certain ones you do have control of that you can keep. But some of them, like for this one for instance, you do not take matters to your own hands, especially if you are a black man, or black woman. But I'm not telling everybody to go do all that. Like I said, use discernment, the spirit of discernment. Be wise. You're in the land of captivity. You have to keep the law of the land. If somebody, by mischief, they killed your baby that your wife was carrying, you don't go and shoot that person. But understand, if that person, the law let them get away or her get away with it on purpose, knowing that they did that crime, rest assured that that person will pay for it. Okay? So God will take care of that person for you. And verse 24, and it says, an eye for an eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. So meaning, if somebody causes someone to lose his eye, you take his eye out. If you make him lose his tooth by mischief now, the same shall be done unto him. If you cut somebody's hand, then you cut his hand. You cut his foot. That's all it's saying. Okay? And verse 25 is a burning for burning. But some people, I remember this lady was in a gas station, ex-boyfriend, throw gasoline on her, burn her down. And the same will be happening to him. Throw gasoline on him and burn him down too. Wound for wound, stripes for stripes. Okay? Again, spirit of discernment. But I'm just reading the commandments, explaining to you how it's supposed to go. Land of captivities, you have to follow the law of the land. Certain laws, you cannot take the matters to your own hands. But certain laws you can keep and follow. Okay? Verse 26, and if a man smite the eye of his servant, and the eye of his maid, that it perish, he shall let him go for free for his eye's sake. Again, we don't find too many of slave things anymore, or slave master, or you have a maid you can strike. You can't do that in certain place. So I wouldn't even look at this. But even if it happens these days, who's gonna stand up for that maid? You know what I'm saying? So again, the spirit of discernment. Okay, verse 27. And if he smite out his manservant's tooth, manservant tooth, he shall let him go free. It's the same thing with the maidservant, what have you. Verse 28, if an axe gore a man or woman that they die, then the ox shall be sure to be stoned. Now that, can happen, because if the ox kills someone, you have to kill that ox, and his flesh shall not be eaten. But the owner of the ox shall be quit. I'm not sure what it says that, because probably and let me find out what that means. It's the dummy term, because somebody quit. What is that? It means if they kill the ox, it shall not be charged that person. Okay, that person is not going to be charged, because I'm going to read the following. It's going to tell you when can the owner be paid for the crime of his ox. So right now, if the ox is just walking down the street and the ox left the cage, wherever they are, the bull just gored the person out, they killed that person, you kill that ox. It's supposed to be stoned to death. Nobody should be eating it, and the owner should not be charged. That's another word what it says. But verse 29 is a different story. But if the ox will want to push with his horn at time past, if the ox been doing that, and it hath been testified to the owner, and he have not kept him in, but that he hath killed a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and his owner shall be put to death. So you see the difference? If the owner didn't know, the ox escaped and killed someone, the ox is dead, but the owner be quit. Okay, he's not going to be charged. But if in the time past the ox done that before, and they told him he did not restrain or make sure that ox doesn't do it again, then both him and the ox will be dead. Okay, and again, in the land of captivities, you do not take matters like this to your own hands. And that's for the Gentiles or the other nation to decide because of the judicial system. You have to follow, what the judicial system do. But if it was the only Yashar'el in the land keeping the Torah, this is what would have happened if we were keeping the Torah of Yahuwah. Okay? And verse 30, it says that if there be laid on him a sum of money, then he shall give for the ransom of his life whatsoever laid upon him. So let's say the owner say, okay. The person who lost that person say, okay, I want $1 million. If he can pay for it, then he'll pay for it. Then he will escape with his life. But if he not, then he died. Okay. And verse 31, whether he have gored a son or he have gored a daughter, according to his judgment shall he be done unto him. And verse 32, if an ox shall push a manservant or maidservant, he shall give unto his master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox shall be stoned. And verse 33, if a man shall open a pit, or if a man shall dig a pit, and not covered it, and an ox or an ass fell therein. Verse 34, the owner of that pit shall make it good, and give the money unto the owner of them, and the dead beast shall be his. So let's say I dig a pit, my sheep was walking, or my goat, my donkey was walking, and it fell in there, the donkey died. So I have to pay the sum amount to that owner of the donkey, and so he can be able to buy another one, but I keep the dead donkey. That's all this is saying. Whatever animal fell in that pit, if it dies, if I'm the one who dug it, I have to pay back. Give him the money worth of the animal so that owner can buy another one, and I keep the dead one. And verse 35, and if one man's ox hurt another's, and that he die, then they shall sell the live one and divide the money, and the dead ox also they shall divide. So which means they sell the one that killed the other one, and they split the money in half. Reasonable, which is fair. Okay? And 36, or if it be known that the ox has used to push in the past time, and his owner have not kept him in, he shall surely pay ox for an ox, and the dead shall be his own. So he's going to replace that ox that died, and he keeps the dead one. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. And I hope that helped you. Again, remember, you're in the land of captivities, the world we live in now, and just as the day of Noah. The commandment, it's not that they don't know it, but they choose not to follow it. And they'll tell you it's done away with. These things doesn't happen. A lot of people live according to the modern day. They go as they do whatever they want right now. So with you, like I say, certain commandments is out of your hands. You cannot do anything about it, but most of the commandments, yes, you can. Like you shall not steal, lie, these things you can keep. But when it comes to somebody who, your wife is pregnant, and somebody out of mischief, cause your wife to lose the baby, you cannot go on the killing spree. Okay? So you have to let the court, the judicial systems take care of it for you. Now, it's a difference if somebody comes to attack you, you're fighting, you have the right to defend yourself. Okay, I'm not saying you just sit there like they tell, Christian will tell you, turn the other cheek. So if somebody coming to attack me, I'm going to fight you. And I'm not going to let you go that easy. Okay, so again, use discretion, spirit of discernment. I'm going to go through all the commandments and explain it. And I pray Yahuwah open your eyes that you may see the secret of the Torah and understand the time and the world you live in. You have to keep the commandments. Like I say, some of them, they're out of your hands. There's nothing you can do about it because you're not in your land. But some you have to keep. Okay? So may Yahuwah bless you. May He keep you and guard you. May His face shine upon you. And may He give you wisdom and the zeal for the covenant of the Torah. So may Yahuwah bless you. Shalom.